Today we have 4 generations converging on the workplace, and so we need the practical tools to deal with the differences. If you lived near or around the Great Depression or World War II, you're going to have a different view of the world. If you grew up during the Civil Rights Movement or the Vietnam era or Women's Liberation Movement, you'll have a different focus. If you grew up with MTV and single-parent homes and the threat of HIV, of course, it would have an impact on how we see the world. And of course, with the explosion of technology, where now most of our life is in our hand, with our smartphones or in our watches, and being able to gather information that way, that has an impact on how we expect things to go at work too. For the traditionals, job changing carries a stigma. Back in 1980 to 1983, I took a class on interviewing at Mankato State University. The recommendation at that time in the textbooks was not to change jobs more often than every 7 to 10 years. Otherwise, you may look like a job hopper on your resume. We rode bikes without wearing helmets. We'd get a new load of gravel in the yard. We'd get on our bikes and jump off of it. Take a handlebar to the gut. Oh, that would hurt, but we'd love that. We'd ride in a car without seatbelts. You'd ride in the back of the pickup. My grandpa's farm was 22 miles down the road. We'd be in the back of that pickup, racing down the gravel road in the back like dogs. Cow, we just loved that. Often when I deliver this seminar, I ask some of my clients, especially if it's a breakout session, can I use my overhead projector and transparencies when I start? And they go, what? Can I start out with my overhead projector and transparencies? Why? Because you got to see the youngest 2 generations just squirm in their seats. They're going, oh my God, he's trapped in the 80s. And that's a lot of fun. I start with the overhead transparencies. The older generations are going, must be pretty important. He made a transparency with that.
Actually, his final statement about just being willing to open up and recognize that they're different than you are. And we actually had all 4 generations sitting at our table, so that was kind of cool.
Early in the presentation, I have people fill out a form that asks them to describe their own generation and the other generations. I always find it so funny that people are so positive about their generation and somewhat critical of the other generations. So we want to make sure that we have at least 5 different things we'll do to communicate more effectively with the other generations, so we can be just as positive about those as we are with our own generation. And now our millennials, take a look at this. Job changing is part of my daily routine. Millennials want variety in their job activities. They may want to work in production in the morning, customer service in the afternoon, and work at the bike-a-thon, jump-a-thon, or any-thon tomorrow morning. Boomers have always been cool. Boomers still think they're cool. You're darn right. So we want to make sure that we have at least 5 different things we'll do to communicate more effectively with the other generations, so we can be just as positive about those as we are with our own generation. The whole focus of the presentation is to make sure we understand what are stereotypes and what are truly strengths and weaknesses of each generation, and then figure out strategies that we can work together better.